welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and it's glad to be back.
Yeah, we took a week off.
We did take a week off.
That was nice. I needed a little break.
Yeah, it was really kind of nice. And, well, I'll tell you, my adventures were, we started, this is our third year, going to Holiday World.
Yes.
And taking the entire family to Holiday World. It was Jim and I. We took our camper, and then Connor and his going-to-be fiance.
Oh, really? Did they tell you that?
Yep. Yep. We're probably going to do a wedding in March or April.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yep. So, but I guess I should have said that. I don't know.
Edit,
whatever. But anyway, yeah. So that's the thing. She is sweet. We love her. And so Connor and Natalie stayed with Jim and I in the camper, and then I get Mac and Paige a cabin because they have the two little kids, and then Devin and Destiny, Daniel's. Jax and Roz came, and we had a big time. I mean, that Lake Rudolph over there is pretty neat.
Yeah, it is neat. It's been years since I've been there, but I loved it when I was there.
The only thing bad about camping at Lake Rudolph over there is those campsites are tiny. They are hard, and there's weird trees just they're hard to get into. So that's one of those things that you'll hear a lot of husbands and wives do a little fighting.
Oh yeah, I remember when we went and it was pouring down rain. Nothing was concrete. Everything was like this much mud everywhere.
Oh,
and my dad was backing in the camper. And the trees were just you had to be really good at, and it was, if it hadn't been pouring down rain, it would have been a lot easier for him, but it was a mess, I'll tell you.
Well, it's still a mess. And, like I said, they're really, really, really tight. Cause there was like one time I'm like watching, I'm not lying. Like he was back in, and thank God there was another camper was like, hey, let me help you. So this dude came down because Jim was watching over here. I was watching over here. This other guy had to watch over here because there's trees everywhere. At one time I said, Jim, you need to stop. Literally his mirror was as wide as my hand. I like put it right here, and my hand was touching the tree and his mirror.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, stop, you know. But I don't know, he's pretty amazing at backing it in.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
So, and we got that fifth wheel now, so he can really put it in there. But then Devin and Destiny bought our old camper, so then we got them in there. But it's always a little trying, but it is so fun. They do so much stuff there. First of all, Lake Rudolph has like activities for little kids all day long. There's always something going. They have a free, like when you pay to go in, there's like a pool. But then they have like their own water slides too, so you can pay like $10 a person for an armband. And there's several. There's like one whole little kiddie area, then a big water slide.
Oh, that's new since I was there.
Oh gosh, it's great, and the kids just love it. You can just sit there and just watch them play, and they have like a place where you can eat like fast food. And they got like a cute little camp store and mining. I love Lake Rudolph. We had the best time there this weekend. Now when we pulled in we went to Holiday World like on a Tuesday, which
is the best day. I mean,
perfect. So Sunday we rolled in, we just chilled out Sunday night, and then Monday we spent the day at the pool there and at that little water slide all day long, and then Tuesday went into
Holiday
World, and it was the most perfect Holiday World trip I've ever taken. Let me tell you why, Beth Cooper.
Because it's wonderful weather this week.
Yes, and it was overcast. We didn't even wear sunblock, and we didn't get burned.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. Still warm. Still warm, but not sweaty. I'm dying warm.
Yes.
No hot flash warm. Okay. But yet it was overcast, so the sun wasn't beating down on us.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
But the greatest thing, so like Jim and I, Jack and Roz now are big enough to where they can ride all the big water slides. So, they're all like going, if you go anywhere with Paige is a Disney person. So Paige has got it here, 5 seconds, you did that. So like they're taking off, and Jim and I are just walking, and we've got Joanna where Jim whistles, and they turn around, we're like, just go. We've got Joanna because she rode those little canoe things. She rode little things. And then her and Pawpaw got on the turkey twirl.
Oh, yeah.
The tilt-a-whirl type thing. And I'm like, oh, Pawpaw, you're literally going to get sick the first 30 minutes we're here. But they made it, and then we just took her to that water park and that little kiddie area. I couldn't walk the next day or that night because I stood on concrete, my bare foot, watching. Jim was up there with JoJo. I was down here, and there was like 7 slides. So walking back and forth because you never knew which way she was going to go. So she would... Oh, my gosh, it was so funny watching her little butt run around there in that little bathing suit. She'd run up there, and she'd go down a slide. I'd greet her, and then I'd be like, okay, go get Pawpaw. And she'd start running, and then she'd be like this, and he'd whistle at her, and she'd be like... I mean, 3 hours, you guys.
Oh,
we didn't
my
move for
gosh.
It was.
Oh,
hey, let's try a different one. I mean, she had an absolute ball. And then we all ended up at the wave pool together and went home and ate. Went back to the camp. It was the best holiday world trip.
Did you end up on the lazy river at all?
No, I had JoJo. She'd have killed me she'd have wallowed me to death on that lazy. So now me and Papa just you take Jack and they wrote everything. And we did one of those. I got one of those cabanas, like the little houses.
Yeah.
Pricey.
Yeah.
But worth it.
Yeah, especially
absolutely
if
worth it.
If you have little ones, I think that it's totally worth it.
I can't even remember. I don't even know. I think I may have paid $300 for that thing that day. I will do it every day, every year, because you got your own privacy. They have water in there for you. They deliver your food to you, which it wasn't crowded, so we didn't. We just went ahead and wait because we just went through it. But on a crowded day, they deliver food to you. It's got the ceiling fan.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very nice.
Yeah, I will always have one of those cabanas.
Yeah,
and your own. You don't have to rent a locker,
right?
Because you got your own.
Right.
It's great. It's great, and we were right there by JoJo's. Our back literally was kind of right where she was.
Oh, that's nice.
It was the greatest, and there was not a lot of people there. It was wonderful. So what did you do?
I took a bus trip to Indiana with a group of quilters. I led a group of quilters to Indiana. We went up to Shipshewana, and we went to a bunch of quilt shops. We went through Amish country. We saw beautiful scenery. We ate a great, oh my gosh, the food.
You know what?
Was amazing.
I'm not a quilter, but I may have to go on that next year.
Honestly,
I would probably like it.
Honestly, even if you're not a quilter, like, you could totally enjoy it, because we do other things, and a lot of times, like, where we stop, you can walk around the neighborhood or whatever. So like a lot of times we end up on like a downtown square. So a lot of people go into the quilt shops, but oh my gosh, there's like
antique stores.
There's boutiques where like I got this one awesome pair of pants, and we just do a lot of shopping.
Now, you do that the same time every year?
No, usually I do it in June, but this year I did it in July because of the wedding.
Okay, good. So you can do yours in June, because I go to Holiday World in July and we won't be missing.
Yeah, I'll probably do June next year.
I want to go on that. I want to go on that.
Yeah.
I want to go next year.
This year we stopped in Indianapolis, and we went to a few quilt shops there, but we stopped downtown Indy for 2 hours, and everyone got off the bus, and I'm like, I don't care what you do, meet back here in 2 hours. But there's a really good place to eat across the street, and it's called the Garage, and the Food Garage, and it's in an old Coca-Cola bottling plant. And I took pictures of the architecture. They turned half of the plant into a hotel and half of it into this food garage, and it's like a food court like you would find at a mall, but instead of like chain stores or chain, it's not like there's a Subway or a Sbarro or whatever. It's like mom and pop restaurants, but they're from all over the world. So like there was Thai food, there was sushi, there was this really great fish place called the Harbor from England, and I had fish and chips, fresh cod. It was so good. It was delicious. They have like some kind of weird ice cream place. They had sweet corn ice cream. And maybe that's a thing someplace. I don't know. I was just simply looking for like strawberry or something. I'm very plain. They were all like really fancy flavors. I didn't need any. But I don't know. There's probably at least 30 restaurants in there.
Really?
It's huge.
Is there just a good old Italian restaurant?
Yes.
That's where I'd have been. I'd have been a Mamma Mia's.
Yes, there was Italian. There was Mexican. There was Italian. You think of it, and they had it.
And were they like, was it like a food court, or was it actually you go into the restaurant?
No, it was a food court. So you order at a counter, and then the whole middle area is just nothing but tables. And it was packed. There were so many people in there.
Is it bad to say that I would have went around the world that day?
You totally could have. Honestly, that whole little area, and like the outside was real cute. There was like bookstores and stuff, and then the hotel. I walked through the hotel just to take pictures of the architecture. They had chandeliers in there from the Eiffel Tower.
You just said
I know. It was gorgeous.
Word.
That's in downtown Indianapolis, you guys. You should, even if you're not a quilter, just go to that neighborhood because it's super fun.
I'm going next year. Put me on the bus.
But I'm not going to Indiana next year. I go somewhere new every year. So if you want to go eat there, you need to take Jim. Or we could go.
We could go.
Take
let's
a day
just
trip.
Me and you go.
Yeah, we should. Yeah,
okay, let's do that.
That would be fun.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start this show. You haven't had? We're going to run out of time, and all we've done is talk about ourselves. Can you believe it?
What? Talking about ourselves? Isn't that literally like two of the best subjects in the entire universe?
I think so.
I think so too. Okay, so I picked this out. This is a meal in itself. It's a Burger King Whopper ad.
Oh my gosh, a meal in itself. You got your vegetable, your meats, your breads.
It used to be that big. They're not that big anymore. But the reason this caught my fancy, the famous Burger King Whopper, this caught my fancy because look how excited she is.
Yeah.
Because I get that excited when I don't eat a Whopper very often, but there are times, and I don't do Big Macs very often. But by cracky, if I get that in my head, I gotta have one
for it. Yeah.
If I get a hankering for a Whopper, I might as well just go get it.
Yeah.
Look how cute she is.
She's super cute.
Yeah, I just absolutely love it. A meal in itself, the famous Burger King Whopper.
They've been around a while.
How simple is that ad? This ad is from the 60s. So Burger King's been around a really long time.
Right. Isn't the first Burger King in Mattoon, Illinois?
I think that, hey, Ty, when did Burger King start? I think you're right, because where's the original McDonald's?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Mattoon has the original Burger King.
I think they do.
And they're still open, but I don't think their food is the same as the other Burger Kings.
Yeah. You think it's different?
Slightly.
I don't know.
So the Burger King brand started in 1954 in Miami.
Okay, the Burger King brand started in 1954 in Miami.
Okay, so who's older?
Am I wrong about Mattoon?
I don't know. And who's older, McDonald's or Burger King? Ooh, that could be a challenge for today.
Yeah.
Which one do you? I prefer Burger King.
I think Burger King is older, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, Ty's gonna look and see. What?
The Mattoon Burger King opened in 1957.
The Mattoon Burger King opened in 1957.
1957. It started in 54.
So I guess maybe it's not the first, but don't they advertise that they're the first, the original?
They might, but
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's let them have it.
We'll let them have it.
And so, who's older, Burger King or McDonald's? Fancy Googling back there. Dead space. Dead air.
We don't know. We're still working on who's older, McDonald's or Burger King. But anyway, that ad was super cute.
I prefer.
Started within a year.
Oh, it was close. Within a year,
so
they
who's
both started
oldest?
within a year.
It's not telling me. I think it's
McDonald's maybe by a few months.
By a few months. Okay. So here's my thought. If I could have, so I do love the Big Mac. But if I have to pick between a Big Mac and a Whopper, I'm going to pick a Whopper every time.
Okay.
Okay. So I pick Burger King over McDonald's. I pick the Whopper over the Big Mac. But by cracky, the McDonald's French fries, you cannot beat them.
No, the Burger King fries are not good.
The Burger King fries are not good like McDonald's.
I don't eat I can't even tell you the last time I ate at a Burger King. Years, probably.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it very much.
We have one right in town.
I don't.
You don't eat a Burger King very much?
But we love McDonald's. We're a McDonald's family.
Are you? Oh, Jim and I are Burger King people. And I love that original chicken sandwich, but I like McDonald's French fries.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but my favorite thing, like McDonald's, I'm a chicken nugget girl.
Yeah, chicken nuggets are good.
I like my chicken.
Yeah.
I'm going to be hungry by the time we even, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I know. For me, it's the fish sandwich at McDonald's. I love the fish sandwich.
Never had one, but I'm not a big fish person. I've never had that. I like that McRib when it comes out.
I've never, no.
No, see, I'm a barbecue connoisseur.
No, I'm always like, what kind of meat is that anyway?
Well, couldn't you say that about every fast food restaurant?
I guess, but with something about the McRib, it just,
Where do you think that fish square came from?
Yeah, I don't want to know, but it tastes like fish. So, and it looks like fish, so it must be fish.
Oh, well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we are maybe going to get back to our show.
Yeah, we'll get on topics eventually.
We'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper, and
I'm Stacey Earlywine.
Yeah, so you're Stacey.
Yeah, I'm Stacey. You're Beth. And what are we going to talk about today?
I am going to talk about this really cool lady that I came across, and there is kind of a tie to Clay County with her, but her name's Anna Bixby.
Anna Bixby.
Anna Bixby, and some people may have heard of her. There's I hope not from her, of her.
Yeah, I'm assuming she's passed.
Yeah, this is from the 1800s, and she was a doctor, and you've probably, I think somewhere in Southern Illinois, I don't remember if it's Carbondale or where, I should have Googled that, there's a women's center called the Anna Bixby Center, named after her. But the tie to Clay County is that she discovered what milk sickness was. Do you remember on that show about Sailor Springs when we talked about milk sickness? Okay, so on our Sailor Springs show, and you can go back and watch that. All of our episodes are on YouTube. Just go to By the Way with Beth and Stacey on YouTube and pull up our page, and you can see every one of our videos. They're all labeled. So go back to the ones on Sailor Springs, and there was a real problem at Sailor Springs where it was known to have milk sickness, and no one, for a while, it was empty land, right? The guy that, I can't think of his name, but that purchased a bunch of acreage there that eventually ended up building the hotel and all of that. He had been warned by people, like, don't put a town there, don't build there, because you'll die, because I think they thought it was in the water.
It was in the water. They thought it was in the water.
The lake and the pond or whatever, you'll have milk sickness. Well, later it was discovered that it wasn't really the water that was causing the milk sickness. But Anna Bixby was the one who discovered what it was.
And where was Anna from? Carbondale?
No, she wasn't from there. They have a women's center down there, but so let's see. Let me get to the part. She was actually born in Philadelphia in the early 1800s, and her maiden name was Pierce. So her name was Anna Pierce. But when she was young, her family headed west, and they did settle in Southern Illinois in an area called Rock Creek. I was going to Google that. Ty, would you look that up where Rock Creek is? Because maybe that's down by where the Anna Bixby Center is.
Rock Creek, Illinois.
Rock Creek, Illinois. It's about 100 miles east of the Mississippi River, which I believe Flora is also about 100 miles east of the Mississippi River. So she's either straight south of us or something. So, but Rock Creek was definitely the American frontier. There was nothing there. It was very open. And she was a teenager, and it really bothered her that all of the pioneers were in such bad health.
Okay.
Like, here are all these people trying to, expand the country, move west, and so many of them die young because they have terrible health. So that kind of is what's, like, got in her mind, like, hey, maybe I could help them in some way. And this is kind of what...
And at this moment, she's a young girl.
She's a teenager at this point.
What'd you find, Ty? He's still looking. I see a red dot.
There's no, landmarkers, but Rock Creek's here.
Huh.
Okay.
Where are we looking at right now?
Oh.
Okay, so it is down south.
It's it's actually almost to Indiana.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Carber's Ridge. Okay.
Southeast. Okay.
Zoom in a little bit more on that, please. Okay, that's...
Rock Creek.
Yeah. So what is that near? Like, kind of not too far from Shawneetown.
Shawneetown.
Cave and Rock, a little bit north of Cave and Rock. It's really not far from where the old slave house is, if you know where that is.
Oh, I love the old slave house.
I do not, and I can tell you some really spooky stories about that place.
It's great, isn't it? We should
not when you're a child.
Yeah, we should do an old. I've got pictures. Oh, we should do a show on the old slave house.
We can do that.
Let's write that down.
Okay. So, yeah. So anyway, Anna, she decided to become a physician. And I think her family did have some kind of finances. So she went to Philadelphia, and she studied nursing, midwifery. Is that how you say that? Midwifery? Like to be a midwife?
Midwifery? I don't know.
And dentistry.
Really? Well,
so
they
back
all went
then
hand
you
in
had
hand.
to, yeah, back then you had to know all of
Everything
it.
went hand in hand. Yeah.
This is the 1800s, like not even the mid 1800s yet. This is still early. We don't know exactly where she received her education, but it said it was in Philadelphia. Then after she got her education, she went back to Rock Creek. She was the only medical practitioner in the county. And she would crisscross the region, the whole Southern Illinois region, and she attended births, illnesses, a lot of cholera, and then during this time she got married to a man named Isaac Hobbs. Okay, so she's a doctor, and she's basically delivering babies.
Wow.
Because women doctors back then didn't get a lot of respect. So they were kind of, a lot of women were comfortable with having a midwife,
right?
There. But when it came to like the more difficult cases, I think the male doctors took those. But okay. So around this time, milk sickness was getting to be a real thing. They also called it the slows. Does she have the slows?
Sometimes I feel like I have the slows.
I felt like that at 7 a.m. this morning. I think I have the slows.
I've got the slows.
I'm actually going to start using that term.
I like that. Do you have the slows today?
Here's another one. The staggers.
Well, I've been staggered before.
I don't walk well, so yeah. I'm always a little bit like...
It was a few years back, but I've been staggered.
The trembles.
Okay. Well.
And eventually they landed on milk sickness.
That's so weird.
So weird. You could go from a healthy person to just within a few days, you would be bedridden with vomiting, followed by a coma, followed by death.
Holy cow.
Okay, all within a few days. So there was a guy in Cincinnati, a Dr. Drake, which we have a Dr. Drake at Flora High School that teaches all of our science classes. This is Daniel Drake. He was a doctor in Cincinnati, and he described the symptoms of milk, he described the symptoms of the slows as sly and baffling, beginning only with a general weakness and lassitude, with which increase in the most gradual manner. But anyway, okay, so they started to kind of put together little bits and pieces about this puzzle, and they found out that it only happened in the summer after periods of little rain. Okay, it wasn't present on the East Coast, and there was no record of similar illness anywhere else in the world. So the settlers in this area and other areas like Indiana, Kentucky, basically all across the Midwest were not only were they concerned, they were really terrified. Right. Just really terrified. So when people got really terrified back then, what did they usually blame it on? Witches. So
that is true.
They blamed spooks and witches. And then other people blamed it on poisonous vapors coming from the earth. So people would abandon entire regions. That's what happened in Sailor Springs for a while. Right. It was completely abandoned for a while, including parts of the Wabash River Valley in Indiana and Illinois. They thought they were cursed, so entire regions were just abandoned. Now, the state of Kentucky, they offered $2,000 to anyone who could find the explanation. $2,000 then was equal to $70,000 today.
Wow.
So somebody, if there was a disease out there right now, they would be like, I'll give you $70,000 if you figure out what's causing this. I mean, I'd be out there looking.
I'd be out there looking for it too.
Okay.
70,000? Heck yeah.
Yeah. So some counties, the majority of their recorded deaths in the early 1800s were from milk sickness. From 1809 to 1927, milk sickness killed thousands of settlers and farmers in the Midwest, including Abraham Lincoln's mother.
Ooh, really?
Yep. So at the time, most frontier families had a milk cow, and it grazed in the fields and in the woods, and it drank from the ponds. So a lot of people think that it was the water from the ponds. But by the 1820s, The prevailing idea among physicians and settlers was that the illness began with cows and they ate some kind of poison. Okay, so they're starting to get there. The cows are eating something that is poisonous, and then they are passing it on to us through their milk. That is why it was called milk sickness. So their baby calves that these cows fed would die. So all the baby calves are dying. Some adult cows would die, and then the people would die. But this Anna Bixby, she decided to solve the puzzle, and she found out one pivotal clue: that milk sickness was seasonal. Okay.
So
it's seasonal.
What season did it all happen in?
In the summer.
In the
the early fall.
When all the calves were being born and that type of thing?
Well, yeah. Well, the calves were probably born in the spring. But yeah, in the summer basically was when it was really at its peak. So she figured that out, and then she went from there. How much time do I have? I don't know whether to go launch into the rest of the story.
Let's go ahead and take a commercial break because we're 30 seconds away from one. So
yeah, we'll take that. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree. Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're talking about Anna Bixby.
Anna Bixby,
the doctor.
And milk sickness. The doctor.
Milk sickness.
In the 1800s.
Early 1800s.
Early 1800s.
This milk sickness was rocking the Midwest. Nobody could figure out what it was, where it came from, why the cows were making everybody sick and turning. I mean, you got it, man. You went into a coma and you died.
That's shocking.
Men, women, children. Everybody was dying. So Anna's family actually got hit with it too. And they had the milk sickness suddenly in the Rock Creek area. She was the only medical practitioner in that county. And her mother died of milk sickness, and her sister-in-law died to milk sickness. Her father had milk sickness, but he got really down. They thought they were going to lose him, but he was able to beat it and came back. He left and went to Philadelphia for treatment. I guess he was good enough. Okay. They put him on a train and off he went. Anyway, he recovered. But from what I've read, not very many people recovered.
I was going to say.
Pretty much everybody just went into a coma and then died.
Wonder why. That's kind of weird, though, that he went on the
Yeah. Well, I think they did have some money.
Yeah. But not enough for...
Maybe the mother and the sister-in-law went too fast. I mean, it does say it's really quick.
It does. Yeah, he must have just been...
Okay. So Anna is determined to solve this mystery. So she focuses on the disease's seasonal nature, and she figured out that it had to be plants that were doing it, not water or metals. That was the poison. It had to be a plant, and it wasn't in the water. So she told all of her neighbors, this is a quote, "I am telling everyone I can to abstain wholly from milk and butter until after the killing frosts." That's actually a quote in her journal.
Okay.
So she realizes it's in the milk and butter. She realizes that after the big frost comes every year, then suddenly milk sickness is gone.
It's gone.
So people, Stay away from
What
dairy.
a sharp girl.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously,
she's smart.
She's smart.
She's very smart.
And it's almost logical.
Right. It is a
You know
little
what
bit,
I mean?
but so many people
so
have
many
been
people
searching and searching and hadn't figured it out.
Yeah.
I mean, doctors all over the Midwest, scientists, everybody's trying to figure this out. And then here's this young woman in Southern Illinois in the middle of nowhere
Going, wait a
and
minute.
she's the one that figures it out.
Yeah, that's pretty
okay.
That's cool.
I like her.
I like her too.
I like her.
Why do we like her?
Because she's got grit and gumption. Okay. So one fall day in 1834, Anna decided she's going to go out and investigate. She packed a lunch. She grabbed her rifle and her dog, smart girl, in case she meets some bear or something.
Yep.
And she started tracking the cattle through the woods with her journal, and she wrote down everything that they ate. Okay,
oh, wow.
So she's watching all the cows and she's writing down what they eat. Now, while she was observing the cows, she ran into an elderly Shawnee woman, an Indian, a Native American Shawnee. Okay, so that whole area where Rock Creek is down there in Southern Illinois, the Shawnee National Forest, it's named Shawnee, in case you didn't know, because of the Shawnee Indian tribe, who were the original settlers, or not really even settlers, but inhabitants, I guess, of the area. But anyway, so this elderly Shawnee woman was hiding in the forest to evade basically the Trail of Tears.
Right.
Her people were being forced to migrate to Kansas, and she wasn't going. She was hiding. She was hiding in the forest, and I don't blame her. I think they all should have done that. But anyway, they didn't have a choice. I realize that.
No choices.
But anyway, she was able to hide. She was probably in a cave. Who knows? But Anna gave that woman her lunch and then brought her back to her house to rest. So she's like, here's my lunch. Eat my lunch. Come home with me. I'll keep your secret and give you some rest. Okay? So they began talking, and the elderly Shawnee woman learned about Anna's interest in the milk sickness. And she's like, I'm just kind of going to go off the rails a little bit and pretend I know what this conversation was like. And she's like, oh, the milk sickness? Oh, yeah, I know all about that. Yeah. Oh, you don't know? Oh, no. Oh, you want to know what it is? Oh, yeah, okay.
I can tell you exactly what it is.
Sit down, girl. Let me tell you all about it,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so she told Anna that she knew exactly which plant Anna was looking for. And before she left Anna's house, she led Anna to a nearby ridge and showed her this really normal, plain-looking plant that was a few feet high, and it had disc-shaped leaves.
Let's just talk about, okay. So this young girl takes off with her gun and her dog. She runs into an Indian woman, escaped. Can you tell? Can somebody please explain to me how God is not involved in this story?
Oh, right.
I mean,
yeah,
like you just literally come across an Indian woman escaping the Trail of Tears.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the hand of God is everywhere.
I mean, if there's not already a made-for-TV movie about Anna Bixby, there needs to be. Like, can we do that? Can we produce a movie here in our studio?
Because it just gave me, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And the scenery would be beautiful because Southern Illinois is beautiful. I mean, really, I'm taking off with my gun. I'm finding a cure for people that are dying. And I run into an Indian woman, knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
So she shows her this very plain-looking, unassuming, regular-looking weed kind of plant in the forest. It's a few feet high, has disc-shaped leaves, a very firm stem, and a little bundle of small, fuzzy white flowers. And it was this forest plant, the woman said, that made cows sick and poisoned their milk.
Wow.
Okay, Ty, I sent in a picture of this. Could you pull it up, please?
I got to see this plant.
All right, here we go. This is called the white snake root.
Well, it's so pretty.
I know. It is pretty. Makes those cows just want to munch, munch, munch. This plant's name is Ageratina altissima, or what we call white snake root. It's a small perennial native to the eastern half of the United States. It's a type of herb. It can be. So Anna decided to pick it and to do some experiments. Let's take a look at Anna while we got the pictures going.
I want to see this girl.
This is just here she is when she's old. This is this isn't a photograph. This is an artist rendering. But
look at the skull above her head. Above Dr. Anna Bixby?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
because it was poison?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't understand this whole artwork, but
Well, look, he's sick. Dad, there's the cows.
Yeah,
he's
okay.
Sick,
I hadn't really studied this.
And Mom's praying.
Yeah.
Mom's praying, Dad's sick, holding his gut, the cows are down.
Okay, good.
And there's even scribble. Yeah.
I was just looking at her face. I wasn't really dissecting the art around it, but yeah, look at you go. You're like an art history major, Stacey.
And then the skull above.
Yeah.
That's me, just
over here studying art history.
Yeah, that's a really interesting. And then you got the plant everywhere.
Yeah, that is the plant.
That's the plant.
Yep.
And then the skull on the top. Yep. Wow, how interesting. That's a really neat.
That is
this
neat.
An actual book you can purchase?
I don't know.
What is this?
This is just an image of her I found online.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. That's neat.
That is neat. Okay. That's Anna. Dr. Anna Bixby. So, okay. So at the time, though, that she found this Indian woman, all this, she was still married to Hobbs. Okay. So she, we'll kind of get back into her personal life in a little bit. But, okay, so she decided to do some experiments. Now that she had found this plant, she cut some, pulled some, whatever, and she decided to feed it to the animals. So I know this is the only way to do scientific research back then, but it's it's kind of a little bit cruel. But it had to be done for the sake of science.
For the sake of society.
Okay, so she fed it to the animals, including the calves.
They would have eaten it anyway.
And then right after she did that, she observed that they all began trembling and they had the signs of milk sickness. So she began to spread the word in her community. And there was an article written in 1966 about Anna, and the campaign quickly began saving lives. I'm not sure that date is right in that, but anyway. Okay, so she told everyone in her county, this is it. This is the plant. Get rid of it. Eradicate it. Don't have it in your fields. Don't have it in your forest, anywhere your cattle can graze. Get rid of this. So men in the county went looking through the forest and fields, and they destroyed the plant. They burned it. They dug it up, whatever they could do to get rid of it. But she actually took some of it and began a garden of white snake root in her backyard, so that local residents could learn to identify it, because she was smart enough to know if everybody gets rid of it, they're going to forget what it looks like. Absolutely. And it's going to creep back, and we're going to start all over. And maybe she thought, what if I die? No one will know. I got to keep. So she kept records, and she kept a garden of it. So people, if anyone had any questions, she'd be like, this is it.
Wow.
Okay. So she also sent letters inviting physicians to examine the plant, but nobody knows if any of them responded. But still, after 3 years, the plant was nearly eradicated in southeastern Illinois. So that should have been the end of milk sickness. That should have been the end of this horrible disease. But guess what? It wasn't, because it was the early 1800s. There was no social media. There was no Facebook post that said, hey, eradicate all your white snake root. We figured it out.
And how would they, back then, they would have had just dug up every plant they'd get the root out.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of ground to cover.
That's a lot of ground to cover. And you wouldn't have weed killer and all that
stuff.
There
just wasn't good communication back then. So there was no, news channel to blast it on. There wasn't a radio station to blast it on. It was basically word of mouth, and eventually that kind of peters out, and you end up with not everyone hearing the news. Also, the other problem for her was that she was a woman, so she wasn't being taken seriously by...
How old is she at this point?
I am not entirely sure, but I would guess her to be in her 20s or 30s.
Okay. I'm thinking she's still young. Yeah, she's young.
So, very few physicians or medical journals across the frontier were interested. Authorities were... Basically, they just didn't trust the findings of a small frontier woman in the middle of nowhere. They didn't believe her. One of the quotes says, she was a woman, so no one gave her much thought.
Right.
So
where do we go from here?
Yeah. So in 1862, which was about 30 years after her discovery, the disease was still an endemic along portions of the Wabash River in Illinois and Indiana. So an endemic is not quite the same as a pandemic because it's not worldwide. It's just locally. But basically, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, the Midwest area that we live in and know, was still having issues because
nobody listened to a girl.
Nobody listened to her really, and and the people in her county and her area did, but word just didn't travel, and it should have. It really should have. But as late as 1885, a North Carolina doctor, he thought that the illness was the result of arsenic poisoning through the cow's milk.
Okay.
And you know, and if she could have just gotten published in any kind of literature, I think maybe people might have listened to her a little bit more, but I don't even think that she did that. And then it says in 1965, when the journal Economic Botany compiled a literature review of milk sickness, including accounts, newspaper articles, and academic journals, the authors noted that milk sickness was rarely mentioned even in later 19th century American textbooks. So basically what that's saying is, like, because it was just in this very rural area out here in the Midwest, a lot of the medical journals from the cities, Philadelphia, New York, we weren't even mentioned. Like our issues, if it wasn't something that was also happening in the cities. Does that sound familiar to you?
It does sound familiar to me. Things really haven't changed much, have they?
Yeah. So, but by 1900, milk sickness was finally becoming less common, mainly because of industrialization of agriculture, which standardized the way that we fed our cows and the ways that we processed milk, because now it was being pasteurized. But it wasn't until 1927, it was about a half century after Anna's death, and almost a century after her meeting in the woods with the Shawnee woman, that researchers in the U.S. Department of Agriculture published a chemical analysis on toxic substances in white snake root. And Anna's pioneering research into the plant's toxic properties was not noted in the department's report.
What?
So they finally, the U.S. Department of Agriculture finally realized, hey, it's the white snake root.
It's the white snake root.
Did they mention her? No.
That is terrible.
Are there journals and journals of her research? Yes.
But did no mention. That's terrible.
So it wasn't until the mid-1960s that historians and doctors rediscovered her story and began advocating for her recognition. So given the significance of her achievement, Anna arguably deserves a seat alongside Elizabeth Blackwell, Rebecca Crumpler, and Susan Picot as the most consequential women practicing medicine in the 19th century.
Wow. We're going to take another commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about our personal life.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
Give me all your lumber. Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We're talking about Anna Bixby.
Yeah, Anna Bixby, pioneer
pretty
woman.
cool story, huh?
It is a very cool story.
I love smart women that
too.
made a difference. Even if she didn't make a difference worldwide or even across the whole
Sure
Midwest,
did here.
she sure did in her own county at the time.
Well,
at
think
least
about all the lives she saved.
Yeah, she saved a ton of lives. Okay.
It's a half century later before they figured it out.
Yes. So her first husband died of pneumonia, and it doesn't say when or whatever, but she had been married to a Hobbs, but he died of pneumonia. So then she went on to marry a man named E144 Bixby. And that is why she's known as Anna Bixby. But I don't know that he was a great guy. This article I'm reading from calls him an irredeemable ne'er-do-well.
Okay, that's
ne'er-do-well.
A ne'er-do-well. That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah. So there's a legend that Anna heard a rumor that E144 intended to kill her for her money.
Holy cow! So wait, because she would have inherited. So
So her dad had money.
Her dad had money.
Her dad had money enough to send her to Philadelphia to get a medical degree in a time where women didn't do that. And he's the one that went back to Philadelphia to recover from the milk sickness. So their family had money. She was known to have money. Plus, she was the only doctor in the county, so she was making money. She had an income.
Yeah.
And not only that, but she came from money. So E144 was going to kill her for her money. So she buried all of her cash in a cave near the Ohio River. And some people...
Are we going on a treasure hunt?
A lot of people have been on this treasure hunt. It's pretty well known down there. So to this day, some people believe that Anna Bixby's treasure is still buried in the hills near Cave and Rock in Southern Illinois. How many times have you been to Cave and Rock?
A ton. I've stood on a ton of money.
I would love to know if it's just a legend or if it's down there.
She did. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to learn more about the treasure, you could just Google Anna Bixby's treasure. It's Bixbys.
How
there is
interesting.
some little bit more information out there, but not much. So I don't know. You might have to go down there and ask around. But from what I did read, there's been a lot of people over the years that have looked for it.
Oh, I can imagine.
They should do a TV show down there based on that.
We should.
That'd be
That's
a good
pretty
one.
cool.
Okay, so let's see what else.
So what happened to him? Did he die?
I don't know.
He didn't kill her?
No, I don't know.
Because apparently he didn't. She hit her money. Well, you can't kill me now because I hit all my money.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know the end of the story on that. I don't know.
I wish
I
Anna
think
Bixby was from Clay County because that'd make a great cemetery tourist gift.
Yeah, it would. Maybe she needs to come visit. Yeah. So let's see. Today, most of the milk Americans drink that's used in dairy products is processed industrially. I don't always love technology, but I have to agree that I'm a little glad that I don't have to worry about dying of milk sickness.
I am very excited about that.
Let's see. Modern cows are far more likely to graze in cleared fields, not on the fringes of woodlands, where white snake root is most common. But, occasionally there are farmers that let their cows graze in the woods.
Have you ever come across? I don't think I've ever really
I
seen
wouldn't know if I had.
I wouldn't know if
they
I had.
all look alike.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just look at them like ticks. That one has ticks. I just hate ticks. So I'm like, stay away from the weeds. Let's see. The last reported cases of milk sickness in humans were 2 babies in St. Louis in 1963. That really wasn't all that long ago.
No.
I mean, it should have been eradicated way before then, but I don't know what happened. But anyway, they were both suffering from severe metabolic acidosis. They were treated in a hospital and survived. Medical technology. They probably knew how to treat it. So since 1927, biologists have believed that the toxin trimetol, which can be present at relatively high levels in white snake root, was the particular substance that caused milk sickness. But it has never been definitely proved, and scientists are still searching for an answer. But as rural small batch dairy farms continue to grow in popularity, that's coming back, that people are doing their own milk at home.
Yeah.
You got to watch out for white snake root because it's not like it won't ever come back. There could be a day where it could easily come back. Mm-hmm. But, hopefully because of all of the medical journals and stuff now, people would easily figure it out.
When did Anna die?
I don't know. I don't have a date. No.
Anything like that?
Yeah, I could probably look that up.
That would be
you might Google that real quick, Ty, just to see what year she died. It wasn't in my article.
I'm assuming she's buried down in Rock Creek.
I think. I think she died of natural causes as an older woman is what I think happened.
Good for her.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know what happened to that stupid husband.
I know. But, in this story, like, we're really bragging on Anna because she was so smart. She was so smart. I mean, like, she went out and looked and took a journal with her and was, like, following the cows. She had the right. But we also need to recognize the other very smart woman in this story.
The Indian lady.
Yes, this Native American Shawnee woman. She already knew. And probably her whole tribe knew. And, they knew about such things. Mm-hmm. She died in 1870.
1870. Okay. Where's she buried? Does it say?
Doesn't say where she's buried. So anyway, so just, kudos to Anna, but also to the elderly Shawnee woman who knew such things. And it makes a really interesting story. Anna's a cool lady, and it's not necessarily a Clay County story, but it does pertain to our area because we had the white snake root here. It was a real problem at Sailor Springs. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And now it's all figured out.
Huh. Well, we're going to go. Okay, so I found this in my hometown journals. I found this. It's called Tail Lights. It's an article that Donna Eubinger wrote for the hometown journal. And Donna Eubinger, she's passed now, but she owned Eubinger's Furniture, and she was a really, really, really funny writer.
I remember.
So I've been sitting on this. I've been sitting on this article for a while, just waiting for the time where we could throw it in.
We got a few minutes here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is called Tail Lights by Donna Eubinger, and the title of this column is Potty Mouth Grandma.
Oh boy. What did she do?
Okay. And Donna writes, I just finished reading the book Julie and Julia, which tells about a young woman, Julie Powell, who works her way through the other Julias, being Julia Child's, cookbook on French cooking by duplicating the recipes. I love anything to do with cooking, and this book was interesting, except I was a little annoyed with Julie's foul mouth. There are hints in the book that Julia had the same problem. However, at my age, I will have to admit, I didn't run across any words I didn't know. I won't say I have never cussed, because I have, but I am a Christian, and I believe that subject is mentioned in the Ten Commandments. It is rare for me to use nasty language. Back when we were in the furniture business, I had a run-in with a woman who worked for an unnamed newspaper in our area over an insert we intended to have placed in their newspaper. When you order flyers, you pay extra to have them folded so they can be more easily placed in the paper. On this occasion, however, I had ordered them folded in half rather than quarter folded. I understood that this caused undue hardship on the people inserting the ad in their newspaper, but at that point there was nothing I could do. The woman was rude and made the mistake of starting to tell me, the next time I want you to fill in the blank. Before I cut her off, I told her I didn't know that there would be a next time, as my advertising bill with that newspaper looked like the national debt every month. And besides that, I was paying a dear price to have the flyers inserted into their newspaper. When Jim got back into the store later that day, Sherry told her dad, Mom just cussed over the phone to that lady at the newspaper, and you know Mom never cusses. Jim was kind enough to avoid telling his daughter that his beloved wife had let a few choice words slip from time to time. The funny thing, though, was whenever I would call the newspaper office and that particular lady happened to answer the phone, you could feel her getting all tense over the telephone line. Power to the people. I don't like foul language, and I've always felt that if you use those naughty words all the time, it is simply because you don't have enough good words in your vocabulary. Totally agree with that. My dear Grandma Rush, bless her kind, gentle heart, nearly sent my mom and my Aunt Thelma into cardiac arrest. As Grandma got older, she had to take turns staying with her kids, as she was unable to care for herself. All of a sudden, Grandma would sit in her easy chair and softly say naughty words.
Oh, my.
Now, let me assure you, they wouldn't be considered nasty in today's world, but they certainly were back then. As a young kid, I couldn't imagine how Grandma even knew those words. She surely couldn't have learned them from her preacher husband or her good Christian children. Where on earth were those words hiding in her brain, just waiting to come out? Now, I have to admit, this scares the pudding out of me. Grandma Rush was a fat lady. The members of our family have intend to take after her. What if I do the same thing as I get older? Now, the words I have heard in my lifetime are certainly much naughtier than those that Grandma knew, and since I tend to be a little verbal, for a lack of a better word, and a little boisterous, also for a lack of a better word, I can only hope and pray that I bypass that particular elderly idiosyncrasy. If not, I'm afraid my kids may shove me into a back room, lock the door, and hang a sign saying, "Do not enter. A potty-mouthed grandma lives here.
Funny.
Danger."
Danger, danger. I can't imagine her ever doing much cussing.
I know, me either.
Oh,
I
gosh.
love Donna Eubinger. She was funny.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy her, and I always bought my furniture out there at Eubinger's because I liked Donna and Jim. I knew Donna always had a really good sense of humor, and I love the way she just ride around on that little cart when she got older up there. Yeah, I came across that potty mouth grandma. I'm like, what is she?
Yeah,
writing
if
about
you would have known
today?
her, you wouldn't have thought she was potty mouth.
Never, ever in a million years.
Okay, so we've been in our show with Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy, which are just silliness and just to make you giggle and be like, oh, maybe a little groan in there, like,
now,
oh,
remember,
my lands.
They don't make sense.
They don't make sense. So hang on tight. Here we go. You got one?
If you go flying back through time and you see somebody else flying forward into the future, it's probably best to avoid eye contact.
Probably. I'll remember that if you're ever going back in time.
If you're ever going back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
Yeah.
Avoid eye contact. I wonder what his brain was like.
I think it was a group of authors or writers. I don't think it was one person.
You don't think it was just him?
No, I don't think he's a real person. But I don't know. We'll have to look that up sometime. Maybe he was a real person. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit.
Yeah, he might. I don't know. He might have been. But anyway, tell everybody where they can find us, Beth.
So we are on Wabash Television, Catch TV, Channel 100 daily at 11 a.m. Our new episodes air on Thursdays and Fridays. All of our episodes are also on YouTube, and new episodes are added on Monday. So you can watch us anytime you'd like on YouTube. It's just By the Way with Beth and Stacey. You can also like and follow us on Facebook, By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Or if you want to reach out to us, you can always send us an email, and it is By the Way with Beth and Stacey at gmail.com.
Also, if there's any interesting stories or you have family history you would like for us to share, we will gladly research that and
let us know.
Meet. Also, the other thing we want to talk about is we haven't done a house. We haven't knocked on anybody's doors lately.
Yeah, if you have an old house that you'd like us to investigate or check out or report on,
we will report on those old houses. Those are our favorite things to do.
So,
I've got a couple in my repertoire that I want to go visit. I'm still after my friend Chris Roopsum. She lives in her great grandma's house here in Louisville, and so I'm after her. There's a few other ones that I want to. Yeah, we love homes. I love going through old homes and stuff. So if there's something, give us a shout out on just probably Facebook.
On our Facebook page. That'd be a great way to do it, or email us, whichever. But anyway,
it all works.
Yeah, so I think that wraps it up for today. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
God bless you and have a great day.